Hey guys, it's Maymay, and necessity is definitely the mother of invention. I want to show you something. You know, we got these cardstock packs into our shop, and what we love about them is they come with a built-in holder. You just tear off this little section here, this little perforated section at the edge. You can see what's inside of it, and we love it. And we've even discovered that rather than putting our scraps into bin, when we use scraps from this paper pack, we put them back in here. So now I know where all those colors are and we keep our coordinating colors together, right? Well, I got to thinking, lately I've been doing the kind of the same thing with my 6x6 in that I've been putting all my tiny little cuts back into the pack and trying to keep them all together. See all these tiny cuts? Because I find I use them more when I have them with their coordinated papers. I used to throw all those scraps in a bin, and then I found that I didn't use them as much. But this way, when I want something in this colorway, I'm very, very likely to grab one of these scraps and use them first. But what a mess, right? When I put this, if you know, I store these in a shoebox. It's not really a shoebox, it's like a storage box, but I store them standing up. And so all these scraps would fall to the bottom. So then we thought our solution was we'll turn them upside down, but then they're just not cute. You're just looking at the open edge of the paper pack. So I came up with a solution. Let me show you. And it's going to work for your 6x8s and your 6x6s. So this is what I've done. I'm taking inspiration from that AC cardstock paper pack. Now, what is this? Let me show you. So this is a 6x6 in here, and these are all the scraps that go with this 6x6 in this little piece we're going to make from one piece of 12x12 cardstock. It's so cool. And I'll show you the 6x8 really quick because we're also going to do that one. And I love this because you can just put all the scraps back in. And I know you're going to ask, will it work with more than just Echo Park? It sure will. This is a thicker one. Do you see how thick this is? This is Lawn Fawn. And I also have ephemera and my 6x6 and my scraps all in one. Look how many scraps are in there too. It's a lot of scraps. So I try to design them so we could use them for a lot of different things. I'm going to show you how to make it today, and we need to get started. So for the 6x6, you're going to need a piece that is 9.5 by 12 inches wide. And this is what our score marks are going to look like. Now, we're going to make one in just a second. You'll see me do it. But I wanted you to see this. And we'll also have photographs of this on our blog post. So if you want to go back and check that later, you'll have a picture of this. Okay. So let's make it. Now, this is for the 6x6. The 6x8 will be slightly different, but I'll show you. Now, I'm making these in black, and you might be like, that's kind of boring. And it might be. And if you want to use some other colors, I suggest that you do. It's your craft room, make it yours. I also think this would be a great place to use those papers, like those 12x12s that you don't like or you just can't figure out how to use somewhere else. Perfect place to use them because you'll use them over and over again, right? All right, so let's make our score marks. We're going to score at 2 3/8, 2 7/8, and you know how much I hate doing eights for you guys, but because we're trying to fit a 6x6 or a 6x8, we've got to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room around it. So that's why we got to do eights. Okay. So it's 2 3/8 and then 2 7/8. And down here, we're going to do 9 1/8 and 9 5/8. So we're giving ourselves a 1/2 inch side. Okay. Now, while you're here, I want you to grab a pencil and I want you to make a mark at 1.5. So let me get there, 1.5, just so you can see it, no big deal, and also at 10.5. So make yourself a pencil mark, and then we'll deal with those in a few minutes. Now let's turn it, and on the side, I want you to score it at 6.5 and at 7. And remember, this is for the 6x6, not the 6x8. We'll get to that one in a few minutes. All right, so that's how that looks. Now we need to do some cutting away. This whole section right here, this entire piece, the little square plus the long rectangle, all need to go away. So you see here, this whole section here needs to go away because we're not going to use that. I had originally thought that I would keep that little tab, but after I created the box, you don't need it. Now I am going to cut my score marks away. So I'm cutting to the left-hand side of the bottom mark, and then I'll cut to the right-hand side of the top mark. And that's just taking that whole score mark away, okay? And then right down here where that score mark is, I'm just going to snip up and get that one out of there, okay? So you can see what we did. And I'm going to do it on the other side too. That's the hardest part of this whole project. This is it. Getting these guys cut and snipped away. Now let's do our folding and creasing. And you want to fold and crease on every line. Okay, so what I want to do now is, you know where our pencil mark is? I want to do an angled cut from our pencil mark to the corner of that piece that is just above where we cut the rectangle. It won't cut this bottom flap, only this little floaty section. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to sink my blade and go up and down. And when I pull this out, you'll see what I cut. See there? That's what allows us to be able to see the paper pack in our little container. That's what I wanted. I didn't want my paper packs to be covered up, the titles. I wanted to be able to just see at a glance what I was working with. And so that's why I did this little angled cut. The other thing is, like you saw on the piece that inspired me to do this, the only place you saw the paper was in the top corner there. That works if you're using solid paper, but we need to see the paper pack itself to be able to see what's in it. So that's why we have closed sides on both sides. Okay, now what you're going to do, you're going to turn these guys in. Okay, this is how we're going to assemble it. Points in. This flap is going to go over, and for stability, we're going to glue this onto the back side, okay? Now, I did try this, putting this inside behind these points, but what happens is these pieces that you fold up inside of here become stoppers for your paper pad and for your scraps. It kind of catches on there, and that's why I decided to turn these out to the back. I don't want to lose this flap because I like the stability, but that's how we're going to lay it out. All right, so what you'll do is you'll just turn these over, and let's do a little dry run. And once I've got that done, I'm going to put my hand here so I can see where I need to glue, and I'm going to put glue on both of these flaps. Now, here's the thing. This is not that important here because this doesn't actually hold everything together. Our next step actually does that, but we just want to get a little bit of glue in there to kind of stabilize it. All right, so you can pick this up if you want, ever how you want to do it. Fold this guy back like so. And make sure before you press it down and seal it that you've pushed these sides out. So I'm going to come right here and push that out to meet those edges. And then I'll just stick my hand up there and squeeze it. And that'll get that glue to catch. So that's what you're looking like on the front. And then we're going to open these sides up. I applied glue in the spine area and also on the flap. This is what's actually going to hold us all together right here. So I'm going to pick this up, tuck it around. If it's hanging off the edge, just trim it away. No big deal. And if you can't get in there to press it, use your bone folder to press or your ruler and just get in there and press that down. Do this side the same. So here it is finished, ready for a 6x6 paper pad and scraps. So I'm going to take my scraps out of here. I'm going to pat this down and get them all out. See how many were in there? And then all of this can sit inside and it goes in super easy. And then these pieces, how we're going to do it is we're going to put our scraps to the back. So see here how we can see the name and the paper pack that's inside. That's what I was trying to accomplish. And I like how that turned out. And for your ephemera, if you don't like it on the front like I had it in the first part of the video, you can just slide it back here in the back. It works just the same. Just keep it in its little packaging and slide it in. And so you have everything together. All right. Look how neat these are stacked up. And like I said, I store mine in one of those little shoebox containers that you can get at any discount store or big box store. But also you could put these in those crates that we get from like Walmart, those little small mini crates. And how neat and clean is this? And when you want to use it, just pull the whole piece out, take it to your, look how scraps aren't going anywhere. I love it. Let's do the 6x8. All right, here is the image for the 6x8, and you'll see I'm using the entire 12x12 this time. All of your measures across the 12-inch side are the same, including your pencil marks. This is where it changes. Where we did 6.5 before, you're going to do an 8-inch score here, so it'll be 8 and 8.5. Don't worry, this will be on the blog, but right now we're going to put one together with this black cardstock. Okay, so let's do our scores. We're going to score 2 3/8, 2 7/8. 9 1/8, 9 5/8. Then we'll make our pencil marks 10.5, I mean at 1.5 and at 10.5. And then we're going to turn it, and this is where we change it. We're going to score at 8 and 8.5. Then we're going to assemble it just the same. So I'm going to assemble it and just kind of let you watch me do that, and then I'll show you how it looks with the 6x8 pad. All right, I got a little glue where I don't want it, but it'll dry. It'll be clear. So here's this guy. And let me show you. This is one of the Simple Stories Color Vibe 6x8. And you can see that it fits in there and you have a little wiggle room on either side. Plenty of room for scraps. Then I have, if we come up here, I have a Mente pack in here. You can see that one. It is flush to the top, okay? And you can put all your scraps in there and still see what it is. Then some of those we've been getting like the Paige Evans ones. Sometimes you'll have this extra piece at the top. This is so they can be hung. So if you want to hang these, that would be one thing you could do. Not necessarily with these packaging, but this makes the package be a little taller, like half an inch taller than 8 inches. So it's going to stick out at the top, but that doesn't bother me. I would just put these in the back of the box. So whenever they're in, they'll be like this, and I'll have a taller one in the back. The 6x6s do that too, but they do it more often. So I went ahead and made this, this box tall enough to fit that, because a lot of these have that in there. So look at this. Now you take this to your shoebox or your crate and look how neat your paper pads are. Put this on your bookshelf. You don't have to put it in a crate. Just put it on the bookshelf. Maybe put a little bookend on one end to hold it up. I just love how this is for storage. We need it around here, and that's really what brought it about. Was I was just like, you know what? I like keeping my scraps with the paper pad, and this is a great way to do it. Now, if you make these, I want to see them over on our customer gallery at MaymayMadeIt.com or at our Facebook group called Maymay Made It, and so did I. You guys, we just hit 26,000 followers on that Facebook group. There is so much inspiration for you there. You need to head over and look. They are doing some incredible projects, and you can be a part of that. So join that group. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this idea, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Till next time, bye now.